we made it, right? We made it through 2023, a whole nother year, and we are quickly approaching the new year, 2024. But before we get there, I just wanted to come on and make this video specifically for parents and to provide you all with some strategies to really help you face all of the stressors that you guys are facing, have faced, will face, whatever the case may be. There are so many reasons why parents and caregivers have so much to worry about, so much to stress about, you know, everything between obviously taking care of the kids in your household, managing your household, being attentive to your spouse or your significant other, or maybe your other children. There are bills to pay, there are things to clean in your household, there are family commitments and social commitments, and not only that, you're dealing with your own mental health issues or mental challenges, you're dealing with your own grief or the loss of a loved one. It's just, the list just goes on, and sometimes it can be a bit much. So moving into the new year, I just wanted to provide you all with some simple things to really just think about in order to really help you manage your stress moving forward. So the first thing that I want to talk to you guys about is setting realistic goals or realistic expectations. One of the major reasons why we all get so overwhelmed sometimes is because we have these goals and these things that we need to do that sometimes is just not attainable in the amount of time that we want it to be attainable. Not saying that your goals and your dreams or whatever you have on your list can't come true, because I'm a big believer in faith, and I'm a big believer that things of the impossible are possible. But sometimes we have to take a step back and really prioritize those things that we can realistically get done. And so what I mean by that is, for example, let's say you're a parent out there and you're managing your own to-do list, and then your child has a bunch of things that they have to get done or appointments that you have to take them to. And on top of that, you have a million other things on your list that you need to accomplish. And so you have this huge to-do list of things that you need to get done that day. And it kind of just stresses you out, because in the back of your mind, you know there's no way you're gonna get every single thing done on your to-do list that day. That's what I mean by setting realistic goals or expectations for yourself, right? So if you know there's no way you're gonna complete a list of 20 things in one day, maybe realistically think about what you can realistically do in the time frame that you have allotted, right? So instead of doing 20 things that day, you may want to break it down and prioritize maybe your top 5 things for that day, or your top 3 things for that day. So really just take a step back and try to reel in some of those things that are not attainable or manageable for you in the amount of time that you may have initially or prematurely thought you could manage it. And speaking of management, that leads me to my next point of time management. The next thing that you guys really want to consider in order to really kind of help cope and deal with some of those stressors is your time management. So how are you mapping out your time? How are you managing your time? What does your day-to-day look like? What does your daily routines look like? How are you managing your own schedule versus your family schedule or your child's schedule? What does that realistically look like for you? And you may need to actually sit down and write out exactly what your schedule looks like from the time you wake up until the time you go to bed, and physically write down and map out what you're doing during the day. And you may want to make sure you have some time blocks, that you have some time at least for yourself, even if it's just a few minutes of the day. Make sure you incorporate something for yourself during these busy days that we all have, because guess what? If we're so empty, it's not a lot that we have to give that we can give to others. So we want to make sure that we try to fill our own cup as much as possible, even though I know sometimes that seems impossible, but we need to be more intentional about making sure we are filling our own cup or doing something for ourselves or giving ourselves just a moment to be alone, if at all possible, so that way we can be even more present for the person that we have to take care of. So manage your time a little bit better, and I think some of those stressors may decrease for you. The next thing you want to consider is support you want to be sure you pick your brain and really think about what supports do you have that can really help you. You may need to start delegating some of the things that you're responsible for, or asking others that they can help you out or support you in some of the things that you have to manage. So do you have a significant other that can take some of the things off your hand, right? Do you have a friend that could come over and stop by and maybe watch your child while you have to run out and do a few errands or clean the house? Do you have somebody in your life, a family member or a friend, that can really help support you in whatever areas that you may be seeking that support? You may even need to reach out to a neighbor or even a member of your community church, or a local program that you're involved in, or a local program that you want to get involved in. Remember that we're not in this alone, and as much as we try to do everything by ourselves, it's not always possible. I know a lot of us think we can do everything by ourselves. I'm guilty, I'm one of them, but you'll be surprised at how much more relieved you feel when somebody else comes along and takes something off of your hands. It could be the smallest thing, but that could make the greatest of difference. So be sure to really think about who else is in your support team that can really help you out and help you reduce some of those daily stressors that you may be faced with. The next thing I want you all to incorporate that will really help you with managing some of that stress is mindfulness and relaxation. This is so important. What I mean by mindfulness is basically being more aware of your presence, right? We are always thinking about what we gotta do, what do we have to do, what has to get done, or we're beating ourselves up over something that did not get done, right? And things that we should have done or could have done or would have done. And basically it's just robbing us of the present moment that we have now. And I'm not preaching to you all, I'm preaching to myself as well, because this is something I am guilty of too. But as a team and as a community, we need to really be sure that we are trying our best to be more mindful, be more aware of what's just going on in front of us right now, and stop worrying so much about what happened yesterday or what's gonna happen tomorrow. And that's a lot easier said than done, I know, but it's something that I really want you guys to think about. So something that has helped me is like guided meditation, when you just basically sit in silence, or you can sit in silence and listen to something to guide you through, like deep breathing exercises, or guide you through prayer, or just thoughts to really help you guide you through whatever situation you may be faced with. You may want to also think about how you can take at least a minute of your day to just have that time for yourself, whether it's finding a quiet space in your home, or going to the bathroom for a minute and locking yourself in there, or going out to your car and just sitting in silence for a minute or two. Whatever the case may be, make sure you are finding ways and little increments throughout your day to just breathe, give yourself some time to just be in that moment, and then kind of get back to whatever it is that you have to get done. But really taking those breaks and being very mindful during those breaks is going to help you a lot. And also some other things that may help you are exercise, moving your body, getting physical, right? Going on nature walks, or just walking outside in your neighborhood. Moving your body and exercise and any type of physical movement is a great stress reliever. And it's something that is so important for all of us, for our mental health as well as our physical health. So that's something else that you guys really should start incorporating and being more intentional about, is getting out and getting some type of exercise in your day. The next thing I want you guys to think about is setting boundaries. Now, this one can be difficult, right? Sometimes it's hard for us to set boundaries. Sometimes it's hard for us to say no. Sometimes it's hard for us because we don't want to let the next person down. But if we're always saying yes, if we're never really putting ourselves into consideration, and we're always thinking about the other person and not ourselves, eventually we're going to get burnt out. So one thing that I want us all to work on as a community is setting those boundaries. So maybe it may look like you turning off your phone for a certain amount of the day. Maybe it may look like you telling your kids like, hey, I'm gonna go in the bathroom or I'm gonna go to my bedroom for 5 minutes. I'm setting the timer for 5 minutes and no one knocks on my door for 5 minutes. I just need this time, right? Or it could be you saying no to a coworker about something, or saying no to your boss when they ask you to stay after hours, knowing that you have to still get home, you have to get the kids, you have to prep dinner. There's no way possible that you can really manage staying a little bit later after work. So just really think about what are those things that you feel like it's kind of getting in the way, but you're kind of nervous to tell the other person no, and really think about how you can work yourself up to really put in some of those boundaries in place to protect yourself as well. The next thing you want to do is think about simplification. What in your life can you simplify? What can you make easier for yourself, right? Sometimes we make things a lot harder on ourselves than what it needs to be. Really think about how you can simplify things in your day-to-day routine, right? So for example, I mean, some of us love to go to the grocery store and go shopping, and we have these huge grocery lists, right? But in the world that we live in today, there are many outlets where it excuses you from not having to do that, right? You can either order your groceries online and have them delivered to you, or you can pre-order your groceries online and then just go pick them up and have somebody else come outside and load your car up with all the groceries. There are so many different outlets that we have today. You may just want to sit down and think about your day-to-day routine and think about, how can I simplify this? Is there something I can do to make this more convenient for myself? Is there something I can do to make this more convenient for my family? And think about implementing some of those things to kind of take all the burden off of yourself. The next thing on my list that I want us all to think about that is gonna help reduce some of those stressors that we're dealing with is having some type of social outlet, right? Sometimes we all need to just get out and go do something fun, right? Life is full of stress, life is full of craziness, and it's heavy right now, but we still need to find a way to just have some fun. So you may wanna schedule a date out with your significant other, or you may wanna have like a girls' night out with some of your best friends, or you may wanna go out for dinner, or go wine tasting, or go dancing, or whatever is in your interest, taking a painting class, whatever it is that you find the most fun. Be sure to do those things. Do not lose yourself in this process and in this craziness of trying to run and operate everything as a parent. Even though I know it's easier said than done for a lot of you all, but just try your best to really think about, is there a way at all I can just step out for a minute to have a fun night out, right? Or a fun evening out. Or even if you can't get out, maybe invite some friends over. You guys can have a game night, right? Or something like that. But just make sure that you're filling your cup with that social piece that we all so desperately need as well. And last but not least, think about how you can find more ways to incorporate laughter and humor into your life, just in general. We want to be sure that we're doing our best to be more intentional about finding things that bring us joy, finding things that bring us happiness, things that make us laugh, whether it's you finding something on your favorite TV show or Netflix or your favorite streaming service, and you know it's gonna be a funny show to kind of just take your mind off the heaviness for a little bit and laugh a little bit, or going out to a funny movie, or going to a comedy show, or even calling up a friend and sharing some funny memories with them just to make them laugh. It doesn't really matter as long as you are being more intentional about finding ways to laugh and have a little bit of fun. So you all, I hope this was very helpful for you. I hope you rewatch this video over and over again and go back and take notes on all the things that you really should be thinking about and considering in order to help reduce some of those stressors that you're having. Obviously, the stress may not just go away magically overnight, but these are ways to kind of help manage it so it's not too overwhelming and too overbearing, because life gets overwhelming and it gets overbearing. So we want to do our best to find as many techniques and strategies as possible to help reduce some of that. So thank you all for being a part of my community throughout this process, and I am looking forward to the year ahead and and just continuously bringing you more content, bringing you more strategies and education in dealing with child development, dealing with your own stressors, and just expanding and growing in our learning together. All right, guys, until next time, bye.